In the spring of 1987, a fisherman working the shallows off the west coast of Jutland pulled something from his net that was not a fish and not a stone. It was a vessel, palm-sized, carved from a single piece of white crystal. Salt crystal. It should have dissolved in seawater within weeks. It had been down there, by every measure we have, for 3,000 years. This is the story of the people who made it. A civilization that appears in no chronicle, no saga, no record. A people we know only through what the sea has been willing to return. Archaeologists call them, for lack of anything better, the Salt Kingdom. The fisherman's find might have ended up on a windowsill, as such finds often do. Instead, it reached a regional museum in Esbjerg, where a young conservator noticed something under magnification: tool marks. Not erosion, not accident. Deliberate, patient, skilled carving in a material that no known Bronze Age culture ever worked. In 1991, a sonar survey of the seabed 12 kilometers offshore found what the currents had been hiding: a grid. Straight lines, right angles, covering an area the size of 40 football fields. The remains, the survey team concluded, of a drowned settlement built on a coastline that sank beneath the waves at the end of the Nordic Bronze Age. The first divers went down in the summer of 1993. Visibility at that depth in those waters is measured in centimeters. The work was done by hand, by feel, in green darkness. What their hands found were posts. Oak posts, hundreds of them, still standing upright in the seabed after 3 millennia, preserved by the same cold that had hidden them. One diver later said it was like swimming through a drowned forest that someone had planted in rows. Piece by piece, dive by dive, a picture emerged. These were not farmers. The seabed grid holds no plow marks, no grain stores. It holds evaporation pools, hundreds of them. Shallow, clay-lined, arranged to catch the tide and surrender it to the sun. The Salt Kingdom did one thing, and did it at a scale no one imagined possible in northern Europe 1,000 years before Rome. They made salt. In the Bronze Age, salt was not seasoning. It was survival, the only way to keep meat and fish through a northern winter. Whoever controlled salt controlled time itself, the ability to store the summer and spend it in the dark months. The Salt Kingdom sat on an economy more valuable, pound for pound, than bronze. Their salt has been found, chemically fingerprinted by its trace minerals, in storage jars in the Alps, in grave goods in Poland, in a shipwreck off the coast of Crete. A trade network stretching 2,000 kilometers, run by a people who left no written word and no name. What was it like to live there? The finds suggest a place unlike anywhere else in the ancient north. Houses raised on oak posts above the tidal flats, walkways of woven planking, children's toys carved, always from salt crystal, as if the material were so abundant it could be given to the sea and to play without a second thought. Somewhere in that settlement worked the Carvers. The vessels show a single workshop tradition, the same 7 tool profiles, generation after generation, for at least 4 centuries. Salt crystal is unforgiving. One wrong pressure and a month's work clouds and cracks. Whoever they were not laborers. They were the keepers of the settlement's one luxury, the transformation of the thing they sold into the thing they believed. And they worshipped the thing that fed them. Dozens of the recovered vessels, like the fisherman's find of 1987, are votive, made to be given away, carved from salt, filled with fresh water and lowered into the sea. A gift of the land's sweetness, offered to the salt mother below. That, at least, is the leading interpretation. The vessels themselves keep their silence. Around 800 BC it ended, not slowly. The seabed tells of a single winter, a storm surge, or a series of them that broke the coastlines back. The pools drowned, the posts snapped, and the Salt Kingdom, which had mastered the sea's chemistry, was taken by its physics. Or so the mainstream account runs. There are others. One team notes that the youngest artifacts show no storm damage at all, as if the settlement was emptied deliberately before the water came. Another points to a cluster of identical salt vessels found 400 kilometers away, in a bog in Smaland, arranged in a spiral, as if someone had carried the religion inland, as if someone had known. In 2019, a conservator re-examining the original 1987 vessel found something everyone had missed. On the base, worn almost to nothing, 3 carved marks, not decoration, repeated in the same order on 11 other vessels since. The Salt Kingdom left no writing, we have always said. Perhaps we should start saying, none that we have read. That is a story for another time.